Pregame.com.
Louisiana Lafayette is at Florida Atlantic. Chuck Edel is going to give us his best bet on this game here. Chuck, we kid around, and you know, obviously we're dead serious. So when you bet your money, if it's a best bet, it's a best bet. Doesn't matter who it's playing. If maybe you don't want to make your biggest bet of the year on the Super Bowl. The numbers are too tough. But here's where you can find some sleepers. And I think you might have found one in this game.
Yeah, you know, championship week, all these games. Meanwhile, under the radar, you know, there's always, always somebody. That's why I love college basketball so much, because, you know, some of these games just go under the radar. But this UL Lafayette at Florida Atlantic. Last week, UL Lafayette, they beat South Alabama 52-30. After the game, they accepted a bid for New Orleans Bowl. And the coach, even after the game, Coach Hudspeth there for UL Lafayette, he talked about how hard his players fought all year, how they deserve this bowl bid. Not even addressing they still got a game to play. Right. You know, he's talking about how hard they played this season. We got, you know, second year in a row, we got a bowl game. You know, really excited. Meanwhile, you know, on the other end of the field, there's a Florida Atlantic team under Pelini, his first year over there. They're not only are they 8-3 against the number, but they're 8-1 in their last 9 against the number. They've improved. You know, this was a bad Florida Atlantic team last year, and people still look at this team as bad. Yeah. And if you look at their record, not the greatest record, but they've played better and better. Look at their last 4 games. They beat Troy, which is, you know, always one of the top teams there in the Sun Belt. Now, they lost to Navy, but only 24-17 at Navy. That's a pretty respectable loss out of a Sun Belt. They beat Western Kentucky, you know.
Who was a point spread juggernaut.
Yeah, were they 13 in a row they covered? Yeah. Beat them 37-28. The last game they did lose to Florida National, a little bit of a deceiving score, a lot closer game. Also, their quarterback, Graham Wilbert, this guy improved all season. On the other end, you got Gaudier for UL Lafayette. Their quarterback, he missed 6 weeks with a broken hand. He came back last week because it was a big game. He came back for that game, only threw like 4 passes in the game. I'm guessing we might not see him in this whole game as well. They're laying a big number on the road. I think Florida Atlantic, you know, as VR says, maybe sprinkle a little bit on that money line. I think they're capable of winning this game straight up, but I'm going to take them plus the points.
I think you're absolutely right. Go ahead.
I say sprinkle away. Listen, I'm not going to waste the viewers' time. I couldn't name a player on either of these teams right now.
I can't name you a player in Alabama half the time.
So I'm just going to tell it like it is. Not only did he convince me by breaking it down, but at the end of the day, I can't agree more with what you said, Chris, that value's value, and sometimes finding it in spots that are overlooked is the best thing you can possibly do, because the toughest numbers are sometimes those marquee games. So if this guy's going to give me a pick on 2 teams
not a game,
like
it's best bet.
Yeah, I'm blindly going to follow. You know me, I check my ego at the door. I've made a career of piggybacking sharp bettors. So I've got no problem piggybacking here.
Chuck, I do some math. Big surprise. I'm kind of a math geek. But I did some work on this to come up with some numbers. This is what this number should be without the home field advantage. And I think they're totally overlooking, and not that they get a huge home field advantage. I give them a 2-point home field advantage. But then you take the letdown factor for clinching the bowl. I mean, you're getting about 3 or 4 points the best of it. And I think that's good value. And then you throw in the psychological. I think I'm going to sprinkle. I'm going to do like VR. I'm going to take the points, but I'm going to take a little bit on the money line as well. All right, we've talked about it. Let's go ahead. We're going to make it official.
All right, UL Lafayette going to Florida Atlantic. You know, we talked last week, the Air Force Fresno game. Air Force accepted their bowl bid before that Fresno game. We saw what happened. Fresno blew them out of the stadium. Same situation here. UL Lafayette accepts a bowl bid after their last win. The coach is talking about the team, how great of a season they've had. Well, the season's not over for them, but they still got to come and go to Florida Atlantic, a hungry team who's been playing much better football, a new coach. They've been playing better and better as the season's going on, catching a good number here. I like Florida Atlantic.
I like this pick a lot.
I did too.
I really do.
I did too. Like I said, when you came with this game, I did a little work on it, and that's the number I came up with.
I didn't even do any work.
I did a little number crunch.
I said I'm not even going to do it.
It takes me a while.
Glad to hear you on those numbers.
It takes a little extra work, but I wanted to do it because it was one of your best bets. All right, coming up next, I'm going to give you my best bet. Northern Illinois and Kent State. This is a good game. This is really a good MAC game. We'll talk about that a little bit more in the next video. You can see all our videos at pregame.tv.